Dear friends, delegates of the International Institute for Strategic Dialogue, I welcome you all to this significant forum, and I thank you, my friend, founder and chairman, Albert Dadon, for establishing this important institute and convening this gathering which for years and years I've been attending. Israel, Australia, and the United Kingdom are three great liberal democracies which share a warm friendship based on shared values, aspirations, and interests. I've recently come back from the United Kingdom, where I met with the Prince of Wales, with Prime Minister Johnson, with a bipartisan huge caucus of Israel lovers and supporters in Parliament and the House of Lords, and many, many leaders of the Jewish community. And I look forward and hope to be able to visit Australia and do the same. We share a deep commitment to tolerance and freedom, innovation and sustainable development, peace and security, and we understand that open dialogue between friends is the basis of fruitful cooperation. Such dialogue and cooperation between our three nations will become ever more important as we work to advance the innovation necessary to build flourishing economies and resilient societies in the face of future pandemics. This cooperation can also play a key role in expanding the circle of peace in the Middle East, following the historic Abraham Accords, which jump-started a regional momentum that we all must sustain. Thank you all for engaging with the International Institute for Strategic Dialogue, for sharing your time, experience, and expertise, and for your willingness to listen, all of which benefits the critical ties between Israel, Australia, and the United Kingdom. I look forward to welcome you all in Jerusalem, hopefully very soon. Thank you all, toda rabah, and good luck, and be healthy.
Friends in Israel, in Australia, in the UK, and all over the world. When we spoke last year, we hoped that COVID would be behind us. For now, let us just say next year in Jerusalem. 1 year ago, I made an important decision for the future of our country. I formed a party, New Hope, which led to the formation of the new government. Our government passed the budget for the first time in 3 years. As Minister of Justice, I have been working hard to ensure Israel's Jewish and democratic nature. I want to take this opportunity to thank Israel's good friends for two very important decisions. The Australian government for recognizing Hezbollah as a terrorist organization, and the British government for designating all of Hamas as a terrorist group. Israel and the Middle East are at a crucial stage. Iran's nuclear plan is speeding up. Iran, with its clear goal of destroying the Jewish state, is getting closer to attaining nuclear weapons. Agreement at any cost with the Iranian regime that would relieve the sanctions would only lead to more instability and extremism in the Middle East. Either way, Israel is determined to maintain its security and to ensure its future in years to come. I would like to end by sending warm greetings to my dear friend Albert Dadon. I hope that this conference will be as fruitful as always, and I look forward to the friendship between our all countries becoming even stronger.
Hello everyone, it's great to join you, even if it's only virtually once again this year. I'm very pleased this dialogue is still able to go ahead as the world looks to recover and reclaim our lives from COVID. Today, more than ever, it's critical that like-minded liberal democracies work together in a common cause. Our collective efforts can make a difference, and that difference starts with the sharing of ideas, which this dialogue fosters on so many levels. Friendships between our nations goes above partisan politics. They are nourished by our shared values, an enduring belief in democracy and the rule of law, a commitment to the rules, norms and standards of our international community, and a deep conviction that humanity flourishes when there is a diversity of opinion, which this dialogue does so much to foster. So I wish you all very well in your discussions.
Welcome to the 2021 dialogue. I would like to acknowledge the Wadawurrung people, the traditional owners of the land that I speak to you from, in southwest Victoria, including Geelong. This year, we meet again through the wonders of the virtual universe, but perhaps with the promise that this time next year, we may be able to gather in person once more. 2021 has been another remarkable year. We've seen the pandemic unfold in each of our countries in differing ways. Israel has been a literal trailblazer in bringing the vaccine to its people. At the beginning of the year, we saw the pandemic take a heavy toll in Great Britain, but within just a few months, we witnessed the remarkable sight of a full stadium at Wimbledon cheering the scientists who have brought the vaccine to the world. And here in Australia, after a slow start to the rollout of the vaccine, large numbers of people have taken up the opportunity of getting the jab. And as a result, we are now learning to live with the virus. And with that, the hope of being able to reconnect to the rest of the world. Australia, the United Kingdom and the US signed the AUKUS agreement. In Israel, in the middle of the year, we saw the end of an era with the forming of a new government. And here in Australia, we are just a few months away from our next federal election. As the fog of the pandemic begins to clear, the considerable strategic challenges which face each of our three countries and indeed the world have started to reappear once more. And so there is much to talk about at this year's dialogue. It's a really important conversation which brings each of our three countries together. And I would like again to thank Albert Dedon for making this all happen. I want to wish everyone a very fruitful and thoughtful set of discussions. Enjoy the 2021 dialogue.
My dear chums, it's December again, and that can only mean one thing. It's another fascinating dialogue. Dialogue has become a major centerpiece of the annual political calendar. This sort of thing, of course, doesn't happen by accident, and I think it's a great testament to the respect that we all bear in that he's managed to get so many leading politicians and opinion formers to come together year after year. Of course, We're not in the beautiful surroundings of the King David Hotel in Jerusalem. We're in a virtual world, but nevertheless, it's going to be possible to have another opportunity to see so many friends and to further strengthen the bonds between our three great nations. Nations that stand by democracy, the rule of law, freedom, and the pursuit of enterprise. But maybe I could be allowed a small prayer that hopes that next year we'll be united in Jerusalem. I'm delighted that the UK is once again participating in the dialogue. I've had the pleasure of participating in 5 of these annual gatherings, and looking at the programme, this year looks to be among the best. Delegates come from all corners of the world and are set to have a fascinating week of discussions and lectures. This year features yet another distinguished panel of speakers, and we've brought together a very impressive lineup from both the Conservative and the Labour Party. I'm particularly excited to be joined by some first-time participants from the UK. This year we have 3 former Cabinet members, Robert Jenrick, Liam Fox and Theresa Villiers. We're also joined by Mary Robinson MP and from the 2019 intake, Christian Wakeford. My co-chair of Conservative Friends of Israel in Parliament, Stephen Crabb, is also back with us. Our friends from the Labour Party have brought with them Steve McCabe, of course, is their chairman, Mike Gapes, Lord Ian Austin, Joan Ryan, and I'm sure Albert will be pleased that his old friend John Speller is also with us. I've got responsibility in the UK for post-Holocaust issues, and it's a real pleasure to represent the United Kingdom government that has so resolutely supported Israel and the UK's Jewish community. In the last year, the UK has proscribed the Hamas terror group in its entirety. We've repeatedly voted against anti-Israeli motions at the UN Human Rights Council. And we've led efforts to turn the tide within that most biased organisation to reject the ICC's controversial probe into Israel. I was particularly pleased that we decided to boycott that great anti-Semitic fest, the Durban Conference. The UK has stopped direct funding to the Palestinian Authority, a long-standing given the abuse of UK taxpayers' money to pay salaries of teachers delivering a violent and anti-Semitic message, something that we've discussed in the dialogue in past years. In May, the UK stood together besides Israel as it faced the onslaught of terror rockets. And in recent weeks, the UK has recommitted to preventing Iran getting a nuclear weapon. UK-Israel trade is booming, and the foreign ministers of the UK and of Israel announced a groundbreaking bilateral agreement last month in the fields of trade and security. But of course, like many parts of the world, we saw the most dreadful anti-Semitic attacks during May. We saw Jewish neighbourhoods being targeted by convoys of cars, threatening murder and maiming of our Jewish citizens and threatening the sexual violence against female Jewish citizens. That is completely unacceptable. And it wasn't spontaneous, it was organised, and the posters were slick, full colour, and you could see identical posters in Frankfurt and in Paris and in San Francisco. This was a deliberate attempt to intimidate Jewish people. And the British government have made it clear, both in terms of police action, prosecution, protection of our citizens, and moral support and financial support to the Jewish community to ensure their safety. Because what undermines the Jewish community also undermines British society. We've seen a number of incidents recently where where a thuggish element have tried to prevent, and they failed, tried to prevent the Israeli ambassador from addressing students at a university. We've seen lecturers intimidating Jewish students, and they've been sacked. And we've seen the gradual adoption of the IRA definition of anti-Semitism in all our institutions, from government, local government, National Health Service and universities. There's no shortage of challenge, of course, this year. The threat that Iran offers to Israel, to the region, to the wider world, remains there. But there are some brightnesses, particularly the Abraham Accords, which offer an opportunity for Arabs and Israelis to work together to bring prosperity, jobs, and hope to a very troubled region. So, my friend, I look forward to the dialogue. Let's get on with it.